Hello? Maybe I need some light and my green screen. Uh, what up, Mango? How you doing? Ah, I think it's working. So freaking bright, though. Is that good? Can you see me? Am I seeable? Well, anyway, hello, Fire Mango. How you doing? All right, cool. Ah, kind of beat today because I was working on the truck. Trying to move the other screen over. How goes it? Tiresome. So, um, someone yanked out some of the vacuum lines. The power line to my power control module for my vacuum system that regulates and governs my cruise control. Um, as well as the air recirculation. So it's part of the PCV as well, the purge control valve. Um, yeah, so I had to fix that all day today as much as I could. Dealing with sabotage. Now, my ex was just blowing me off like, oh, whatever, it was probably an animal or some shit. So, an animal that can reach into a space that's barely 6 inches and apply at least 20 pounds of force. Doesn't sound like any animal I know of. And it looks like someone reached under, grabbed everything they could that was in a certain important area, and just yanked as hard as they could. And they must have been in a hurry because they ripped out some wires too. So yeah, I've been dealing with that bullshit. Started my truck because I was about to go get my son, and I just hear. And I was like, oh, fuck. But yeah, by the time I looked around for like footprints and shit, they were nondescript. I couldn't, I couldn't, identify like the type of shoe or nothing. And I was like, look, woman, somebody hopped the fence last night. and they re-yanked out the shit in my truck, so be careful. And she immediately brushed it off like it was nothing. And I was like, well, that's not too suspicious. She literally was like, whatever. Yeah, very fun, Mango. Very fun. Annie Jew, how are you? Very good. It doesn't really matter what pace you do, honestly. It could be a jog or whatever. Icky shuffle, like I do sometimes for fun, because it's funny to me and I'm used to it. I don't even know if people do the icky shuffle anymore. Do people do the icky shuffle? Wait, maybe I'll find it on YouTube. Had a normal day? Well, that sounds good. So, is that a walk? Because depending on the treadmill is how they measure the speed. At my local gym, there's some treadmills that 304 is like kilometers, and then for some of them it's 304 miles per hour. So, okay, basically a slow jog. All right, yeah, that's acceptable. As long as you don't stop and you do it every day. It's kind of like that, I guess. Not exactly the same, but similar. I guess there's different versions of it. What's this?
Mate, I haven't deployed it.
Warhammer clips and bits? Oh man, they got a nice minimalist little setup here. Very minimalist setup. I like it. Oh no, someone's name is Alex and someone's name is Malik. I think we all know how that's going to go down. And Alex is going to be wronged by the Malik. I guarantee you that. Guarantee you that. I know how this is going to go down. Oh, I bet it will be. I bet it'll be hilarious. I'm just waiting for more people to get in here before we start. Move that over to the middle. Okay, that's good enough. It does. It's telling me 4. So what in the... No, it's 4 across all platforms. Commander Wolf. Hey, what's up, Wolf? How you doing? I'm here. Multiple streams running. Multiple streams running. Oh, you're watching multiple streams. Okay, I get you. Yeah, no, it was telling me 4, but I forgot that's my restream channels. Because this is how it appears to me. But I can only do 3 at a time. Wait, can I do 4? I guess I can do 4. Okay. Oh, whoops, I split everything. No, don't do that. No, don't do that. There we go. Okay. All right. Yeah, we're about to watch. My money is on Malik being a cheater because he's got a cheater's name, and I have a very, very strong feeling that the Alex one will not be a cheater. What do you think? And Fire Mango can't say shit because he's already seen it. The name Malik has cheater, pumpkin eater all over it. Just like the name Daquan or Natobu. No, was it Nuntabu or Nontabu? It's one of the two. Dolololololo. What do you think? Could be their Bears player, I think so. I'm thinking this guy will be the one to cheat. Malik Amin. Oh, it's not Sports Bub, it's Warhammer 40K tabletop. They're doing a tabletop game of Warhammer. It says possibly the worst professional game of Warhammer 40K ever recorded. Should be interesting. All right. Well, this is from Fireman Goes, requesting this live on the stream for more Hammer clips and bits. All right, let's check it out. I'm going all in on Malik being the cheating name here. 100%. And watch me be right too. Let's go.
Mate, I haven't deployed anything yet. Wait.
I don't care, bro. I'm just.
Unless you're just chucking stuff down. Fair enough. Cool. You? Oh, I've done 3 because I did them 2, then that. So.
Okay. So you want me
Oh no, you did that.
I
So
did
2 more.
I did 2 in a chicken. So I just.
Okay, so just
I
one.
more,
Just one. Yeah.
And what's the range of these chappies?
36 plus move 8.
44 inches plus making it a bit awkward. So we're definitely gonna miss some planes.
That one's already there, mate. You
Say
said that
again?
earlier. Because I was measuring that. That one's already there, isn't it? Yeah,
no.
because you placed that and then I was pre-measuring that.
No, because that's the chip that I just brought over when you told me whether that's the bomber.
You literally, I mean, if you can redeploy it, but I'm gonna move mine if that's fair, because
Okay, fine.
you did put it there, as in like deployment wise. But if not,
I
fair
literally
enough.
brought it over a minute ago.
I'm not even, a minute into the video. Did I call it or what? I haven't even watched the whole thing yet, and I already know who's being the cheating bastard. Really easy to tell. Very easy to tell.
Go and told you that's the bomber because he's got a thing.
Yeah.
What is it? What's the saying? 13% of wizards cast 80% of the dark magic or some shit. I forgot what Asmongold said exactly, but he's 100% right.
And then you deployed it. But if you didn't, mate, it's cool.
Oh, fine, it's fine.
You can move it if you
It's
want.
fine. No, I'm not. I'm too tired.
Because I saw you put it there, and then that's when I put that one there to measure
I'm too
it.
tired to do that. So again, these are
The dude's too tired. To move something that weighs only not even a pound. And you could tell by his forearms just how if you can't stand to have your arms reaching over the table, maybe you'd need to do a lot more, real types of prepping and less tabletop prepping. Mr. Bronze, sir. Such crap. Well, I bet it gets better. I have a feeling I know exactly how this is gonna go. And this poor guy named Alex, this poor Alex dude's gonna have to put up with it until the end, I'm assuming. Unless he blows a gasket, which, you know what? Hey, hashtag darker colors fatigued.
going 9.
There's no character in the way, is there?
No.
Cool.
So
is that the closest you or
that's
the back?
the back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, bro. But if the closest is gonna
No,
be
I couldn't see. I didn't know where they were. So.
yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to cheat you. There's a
Mate, I'm not trying to cheat you. There's a big camera above me. Really? Not trying to cheat him. While you've pulled things out. And he didn't see what was all there? Really? Because you're getting caught already. Yeah, well, I mean, it's the usual suspects involved here, so
a big camera above me.
no, I'm talking about what what the other guy said to elicit the response. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like he didn't know what he was doing. Then he questioned it, and then he's trying to say to him that he might have been. The implication was quite clear. Wait, I probably didn't make that very clear, didn't I? Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, let's continue.
Okay, cool. So let's put shots into that dread there. And that one's gonna fly over here and just twist and touch the building so the obscuring doesn't catch me.
You don't need obscuring because you're shooting there, right?
Yeah, but I might shoot into the...
So that doesn't count as being in cover on the outside.
So again, I'm not in cover now.
No, you don't count as touching it from the outside. That's actually in the FAQ.
As in, I'm touching it now.
Yeah, but you don't count.
Yeah, but I'm touching it now.
It doesn't matter. You can't touch it from the outside.
Yeah. No, Zach said basically the bases are the bases. So as long as I touch that, no longer.
It's in the FAQ.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm getting it. So
yeah.
basically, they're saying you can't touch the outside and get cover, right?
No. It's not the cover. It's about shooting through obscured.
You check.
Yeah, let them check, mate.
Yeah, but I'm pretty certain that's that.
I don't think it might matter. You might have to move more that way, but
Yeah, it's just so I can see the Death Watch with the phosphor.
you could see it where it is.
I can see it where it is. Okay, then it's irrelevant. So
yeah.
Damn, someone just freaking lost and got mad about it. You can hear that shit. It's a good time. It's a good time. I remember reading about a game that lasted 3 days in a bar. I want to say it was in I want to say it was maybe in Birmingham. Or maybe it was in London. It was one of the two. It was somewhere in the UK. But there was a tabletop game that took 3 days. And and the dudes paid the bar owner for each day because they were they were taking up whole entire sections of the bar, of the pub, right? Freaking playing their game and like doing measurements and calculations and shit. It was wild to read about. But the headline was the one that grabbed attention. It was like bar fight last 3 days or something like that. Or it was like pub brawl or bar brawl or something like that, or bar fight, something like that. Last 3 whole days. And when I first saw it, I was like, holy shit. These guys are going at it for 3 days straight? Jesus Christ. And then I read the rest. It was them doing a tabletop game. That's what happened. I was like, oh shit. Well, anyway. But yeah, no. Unless some shit has changed, you can't declare cover unless you're inside structures. Right? Unless you're in something that's built. Am I wrong about that now? Because if you're technically outside, right, then cover is whatever you can occupy. Or am I just out of date on all my shit? And as far as I'm aware, flying units, flying units that have flying, right, and ground attack, as far as I'm aware, they don't exactly get cover because you're flying. So a unit has to have the ability to shoot you in the air, like a basilisk or something, in order to be able to touch you, because you're in the air, you're flying. Okay, so they did add obscuring. Because I mean, obscuring would make sense if you're at the wrong line of sight for a unit, right? Which that would make sense. But obscuring still isn't cover. So 2 separate rules? Okay. I mean, that makes sense, right? Because if you're obscured and a unit doesn't know you're there and doesn't exactly know to expect you, well, then I guess that makes sense. 2 separate rules, old 40K edition BS. This clip's from 2021. Okay, so this is like 7th, 8th-ish, maybe. Okay. But yeah, no, because obscuring would be line of sight. I don't know if they even count those. Do they let you calculate line of sight halfway through 9th lifespan? The edition I played oh, okay. Okay. So basically they just called it good on 2 different rule sets for each applied. Okay. All right. I guess that makes sense. What are you bitches doing? I got 3 female dogs loose in the house right now. One of them's mine, Layla. The other 2, Ismay and Canella. But they're all loose at the moment. They're all female. Completely missed old mate having a heart attack in the background. That's what their scream was. Someone actually had a heart attack in the background and like just blah. That's what that was? I thought someone lost a game where just like rah, and just, had a meltdown. Threw a temper tantrum. Okay, so someone had a heart attack. Jesus. That sucks. Yeah, I heard it. But wait, there's more. Okay, well, let's continue. Anyway. But yeah, other dude seems like he's trying to pull some shenanigans.
And then the fully buffed squad, I think, is going to go. Yeah, I'll take that dreadnought. Oh, Jesus. Jesus.
Have we got first aid? Anyone? Zach! Okay.
Yeah, no, but
anyone?
It's going to go. Yeah, I'll take that dreadnought.
Realization that a small disaster occurred nearby. When people do these edits that are like 1 second text on the screen, I mean, I can read fast, but god damn it, drag that shit out still. If it's 1 second screen text, most people can't see that shit.
Oh, Jesus. Jesus.
Have we got first aid? Anyone?
Props to the guys. They do the right thing here and make sure the guy is seen to. Okay. But Jesus.
Zach. Okay.
Yeah, no, but have you got
So doesn't
first
he-
aid?
He doesn't need first aid or anything, no?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm worried for the chap.
2, 3.
3, 4, 5 so far. These are -2. That was a 5.
Do you mind rolling?
What else do I expect from an Amin? I thought it was a 4. Little bastard trying to use some sleight of hand, some ghetto hood rat shenanigans from Loudon and Birmingham. I know the type. They're the type to play bones with you, right? And then to be jiggering up the rules the whole time. They're that type. They're the kid on the playground who says it's fair for them to use a rock to win King of the Hill because they're the smallest one there. But it's not fair for everyone else to go harder on him even though he's armed. Or he's that kid, right, that you play the imagination games with, and they just say that they have invincibility to everything. That's who the fuck this is. God damn. That's who this is. I swear to God. Cheating bastard. Trying to friggin' they're rolling for wounds, right? And he's trying to cheat him out of it, I think. Fucking It's not all of them, but it's always them.
Rolling in, I thought it was a 4, to be fair.
I promise you it was a 5.
Can you re-roll it, though, mate? Because I thought it was a 4. So.
Bro, it was a 5. You know
Well,
it was a 5.
I genuinely thought it was a 4 and then you flicked it.
Whatever.
I'm not trying to mess you around, bro.
You are.
Was it 5?
It was a 5. 5 these are
That's a 5.
3, 4, 5 so far. These are -2. That was a 5.
Do you mind rolling in? I thought it was a 4, to be fair.
It was a 5.
I genuinely thought it was a 4 and then you flicked it. I'm not trying to mess you around, bro.
You are.
Was it 5?
You'll watch it
Okay.
back on the stream and you'll see it was a 5. -2.
4. Oh, -2.
Yeah.
So 3.
3.
Malik, chill. That was I thought it was a 4, bro.
Yeah, no, but
That's
it
all.
wasn't.
Okay, well, this is my word against yours. I'm not trying to cheat you out of a wound.
I'm not trying to cheat, bro. It's just a prank, bro. What's good, bro? What's happening, bro? Bruh. Yo. My dude. It's not all of them, but it's always them. Clearly a 5. Brings it over, flips it, and then claims I mean, let's keep going. Jesus.
Was it 5?
You'll watch it
Okay.
back on the stream and
I heard the guy in the back, too, who was observing, say, no, you got a 5. It was a 5. So someone else was there to back him up. Here's what I missed. Okay.
I'm not trying to mess you around,
You
bro.
are.
Was it 5?
You'll watch it
Okay.
back on the stream and you'll see it was a 5.
It was Alex cheating, Malik. Wait, then why is the text backwards? Or am I saying it wrong? Actually, in the fact, make sure dude's okay. He's rolling. That's a 5. Note this 5. Promise it was a 5. You're not Okay, well then pained okay. Then why does it seem like it switches? That's actually in fact awkward laugh. Not trying to cheat you because it looks like it switches in the beginning. Okay, so Malik did do cheating. Okay, so I did see Malik cheat. Maybe because they flipped locations.
You'll watch it
Okay.
back on the stream and you'll see it was a 5. -2.
4. Fine. Oh, -2.
Yeah.
So 3.
3.
Malik, chill. That was I thought it was a 4, bro.
Yeah, no, but
That's
it
all.
wasn't.
Okay, well, this is my word against yours. I'm not trying to cheat you out of a wound.
As he does try to cheat out of a wound. Okay, I guess what's throwing me off is seeing who's handling what, but not versus who. It's not clear who's doing the exact thing. Okay. You say primary cheater was Alex. Okay, well, I was trying to pay attention more to one than the other. No wonder why it seemed kind of weird and wonky. Okay, yeah. I'll have to read comments afterwards. This camera should be panned a bit more, honestly.
So, down to 11. Where's the 5? Why can't I roll like you? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. He's dead. Does it explode? Oh. I think that's pretty much game. I'll let you finish turn, mate, and then call it, probably. Because you've not even shot your planes yet.
Nope.
What's the point, man? The
hard,
stream's already dead. He's still down. There's no point playing for a strain. I can concede though, can't I?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
So
2.
2 -2.
Dead. Does it explode? No.
I'll call it.
Yeah, we'll just call it that, mate. Good game. Well, wasn't a good game, but yeah, it was first turn. First turn.
I'm sorry.
It's a dice roll, mate.
You do the same to me, right?
I would have done. Yeah, I would have done the same to you if I went first, because I would have killed all 4 planes. No, that's a different game. It just sucks that the 40k game at the moment is just first turn. It's just not a fun game with this terrain as well.
Yeah,
it's a bit shit, but.
Yeah.
The fuck? Because, well, anyway, both of them cheated, so I guess that's that, but Jesus fucking Lord. Where the hell is, where's the Where's the moderators? Where's the observers? Where's the watchers? AdMech plane spam was fucking brutal. I can imagine. JD. Hi, Badger. What up, JD? How you doing? We're watching some Warhammer stuff. I'm not trying to cheat you out of a wound, as he said. Okay, so I did catch that one. When he tried to cheat him out of... It's my word versus yours. Nah, bro, it's your word versus genuine fucking cotton 4K video evidence. Yep. These guys had so much fun, you can feel it. The sarcasm. Alex Harrison was banned from tourneys a few years ago for cheating. Sad to see he's back. Can't believe a random guy of a medical emergency was the least awkward part. I'm not trying to cheat. There's a big camera above my head. Well, clearly trying to cheat on multiple occasions. Well, both of them did it. So, honestly, they both suck for that. Imagine ending a game with GG, but not really, though. Well, some people are bitter losers. I'm one of them. You've seen me get frustrated playing Helldivers on 10 dive difficulty by myself. Okay, so it was from London. Okay. Not shocked he's featured. Okay. Worst experience I ever had was holding... Okay, this is someone else's story. Result of meta chasing from both sides. You can see negative ego floating around. Sadly, it's more common than people think it is. You know what I'd do if I ran BattleTech games still? Because whenever I used to still play tabletop, when I could afford it, we would have 3 different people per side, and they would all be watching one person and all their shit. All of it. That way, there was a whole team of observers and watchers on both sides who could come together, compare notes, right, and ensure shit wasn't being done stupid. If you got caught cheating, well, you got docked. You'd lose points, or you would take extra wounds or something. Okay, it's just my stuff saying it's charged. But yeah. JD, what's on the agenda? Just basically what the stream title is, honestly. Fire Mango. 9th was just shit edition altogether. Shame is what I played the most. 9th just had so much overlaid shit built on a foundation of fucking toothpicks. And 10th went the wrong way in the full opposite direction. Cheating was rampant due to constant fax armies being updated mid-events. Yeah, it was all a shit show in between those two. I don't think I didn't play too much after 7th. Yeah, after about 7th edition, I didn't play too much. Well, anyway, this was funny. You play Necromunda currently? Anyways. Hey, look, it's Black Lagoon. Ooh. JD, are you going to do any reactions tonight on stream? Long as they're not copyright, music, or anything that could be claimed by someone. As long as it's none of those things, we might be good. JD. I want to see this one real quick, though. This looks good. An Abrams tank versus multiple T-90s. I remember in freaking, what was it? Battlefield 4? Freaking, you know, the Abrams would lose to the T-90 all the time. And I was like, man, that's a crock of shit. Because, the Abrams already killed T-90s before all this. But anyway, the Abrams, even the first, the Abrams, Alpha, the very first one in the first Gulf War, the only one that we lost, technically, and we tried to destroy it in place. We tried to dip that fucker. It took like 30 goddamn shots to blow it up and burn it from other Abrams tanks. So, like, anyway, I want to see this Abrams screw up a bunch of T-90s. What do y'all think? Y'all up for that? Here, let me share this in the chat. Credit where credit's due. All right, well, if there's no objections, this is from Fortress America. Damn, they're way past me in subscribers, and they just literally started. Funny as fuck. Good morning, Badger. What's up, funny as fuck? How you doing? We're about to watch an Abrams tank crush a bunch of T-90s. You down? Let's check it out. Hopefully it's not copyright music.
This Abrams rolled out to destroy an enemy stronghold, while this Leopard was hunting 2 Russian tanks and crushing them.
Dude. The Leopard being a sniper of tanks. We should copy that shit onto the Abrams. I mean, the Abrams can hit targets stupid far away as well. You know, a couple miles and more. Especially with the new special type of shells they got nowadays. And the improved barrels, apparently, they're putting on the new Abrams. But, yeah. Funny as fuck. I'm fine, thanks. Hope you're doing good. I'm alive. That's literally it. I have now gotten over 7,970 applications for jobs. I look healthier? Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I shaved, and then suddenly everyone's like, JD, damn, yeah, damn is right. God for damage. Or damage, one of the two. Well, anyway, mierda, a la madre de Dios. Dios mío.
A Russian tank tries to escape from the pursuit of Ukrainian drones, but it fails.
Funny as fuck. I know your face. Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, yeah, yeah. I remember.
Today, we'll show you what Western tanks are capable of and compare them with the flagship of the Russian army, the T-90M. Don't forget to subscribe. This is going to be interesting.
You know what's funny is that when we recovered some T90s from the first generations in different places, I won't mention where. Those aren't made public yet. We found parts of the supposedly reactive armor was just a cement fucking brick. That was it. Right? Kind of like how Abrams has Chabum armor, which is explosive, reactive, electromagnetic, or whatever. Well, the ones we recovered, right, they were T90s that had the explosive, like, little bricks all the way in the front. You know, it's got, like, sections of it all the way around. Well, we would, like, undo those, look at them, and be like, this is just a fucking cement block. Like, it wasn't doing shit. It would be like as if you took a block, you know, like a brick from some old, you know, house that was built back when houses were built more solid, and just shoved it in there. It wasn't explosive, reactive, nothing. And they're still discovering that shit today. It's funny. It's so funny. Funny as fuck. Did you see the fire drones? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Although my drone license is expired now, I believe. I'd have to double check. Because when we were training the Ukrainians, we initially trained them with drones for reconnaissance ops. Way back in the day. We're talking like, I was there between 16 and 18. And then at that time, we were just starting to introduce drones into squads. But they were for recon. They weren't attack drones. We figured that would be left up to strategic asset drones like the Reaper or the Shadow or something. We never thought they would go this far. They're doing a damn good job, I gotta say. Funny. I grew up next to a Russian base, saw tanks every day. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I believe you are old enough to remember when Soviet tanks were around your area back in the day.
Ukrainians have spotted a massive convoy of Russian armored vehicles. Nearby, there were 2 Leopard tanks. They lock on and attack the convoy. The first tank drives over a massive convoy of Russian armored vehicles. Nearby, there were 2 Leopard tanks. They lock.
Yeah, you see all of this, all of these like brick looking little things. All of that's, you know, basically a type of explosive reactive armor. So when something hits this, it's supposed to blow up, and then it's supposed to basically, like, it's so weird to see them in Ukraine. Well, it you know, it is what it is, really. But with the explosive reactive armor, the Russians have an equivalent to it. But when the ones we recovered back then, inside of each and every one of these, it wasn't even explosive reactive charges. They just took a cinder block brick and just shoved it in there. That was it. So yeah, it was it was entertaining. It was like, oh shit. Right? Because we actually supply our vehicles and do quality work, whereas them, they're so corrupt that they're selling the explosive charges and then just shoving house bricks into it to make up the difference. Anyway, let's continue.
Lock on and attack the convoy. The first tank drives over anti-personnel mines, and the Leopard hits the second one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Russian stuff is real bad. The only things they got so far that aren't crap nowadays are like the Oreshniks. I believe they're... It might be the Kirov or Kuta type submarines. Those are actually pretty good. They're actually good submarines, the Akutas or whatever. And they're actually a threat. They're actually competent machines. Maybe they're boomers if they still have any around. The rest of their surface fleet's shit. Their aircraft are shit. Their supposed checkmate aircraft can be detected literally from across the freaking, water. Everything else just sucks. The only reason why they've been hanging in the war so long is because of numbers and copying the Ukrainians when it comes to battle tactics and strategy. That's the only reason why they're hanging in here. But that's been their thing all along. That's what the Russians do. They hit you with wave after wave after wave until they wear you down and you give up, essentially. Funny as fuck. Leopard. That's right. Leopard.
Another shot. A perfect hit on the APC. The German tank starts shooting targets like it's at a shooting range, shot after shot, and the potential of the Russian assault fades. The tank tries to retreat and takes a hit to the rear. The frightened infantry abandons the APCs, but not everyone retreats. Some APCs move into the settlement. The enemy disembarks infantry and retreats. The Leopard maneuvers and fires. The Leopard finishes off the damaged APC. Now, it's the turn of the infantry who have occupied several buildings. The tank gets close and fires. With each shot, the chances of the infantry decrease. After hitting the target, the tank turns and rushes.
All right, Commander Wolf. See you next time. Have a good night. Have a good Friday night. Funny is another OG of the channel, just like Great Gamer. But yeah, good night, Wolf. See you next time, Wolf.
To the next building. Inside this building is an enemy platoon. As you can see, the Leopard is right up close. The tank uses a special H round to increase damage.
I'm guessing he's using a heat round, high explosive anti-tank, maybe. Yeah, I saw that. Funny.
It circles the building and fires several more control shots. Mission accomplished. Let's move on to the next one. 2 Russian tanks are moving across the field. A Ukrainian Leopard tank is watching them. It moves to the most advantageous firing position, stops, and aims its gun. A perfect shot, the Leopard hits the enemy. The crew receives information that 2 Russian tanks are advancing a few kilometers away. They accept the challenge and move to their positions. When the Leopard arrives, the distance is about 1.5 kilometers between it and the enemy. The tank aims its gun and fires. A perfect hit. The enemy assesses the situation and retreats from the battlefield.
The Russians can't even see that far, barely. They gotta sit still and focus in real hard. Their gun scopes are nothing to be proud of, honestly, even in the modern ones. They're only winning because of sheer volume of stuff, really. I also find it funny they're rolling out old T-65s now and shit.
Have you noticed how often enemy tanks explode after just the first hit? In such cases, the chances of survival are minimal, unlike Western tanks. Here's an example from the enemy's side. 2 Ukrainian Leopard tanks are moving down the road. One of them is hit by the enemy. It looks bad, but it's not. The fire you see is the ignition of the ammunition, and it's a controlled process. In the next frames, we see how the entire crew evacuates. Another example, a damaged Leopard tank stops and evacuates its crew. This clearly shows the difference in crew protection between Russian and Western tanks. The enemy is hiding in a building.
Yeah, then again, the doctrine back in the day was that we would have to face multiple waves of, Soviet, Warsaw Pact tanks, right? Coming through if I remember correctly, I think it was the Fulda Gap. It might have been the Fulda Gap originally, or the Suwalki. It's one of the two. So the idea was to basically make our tanks like fortresses. They could take multiple hits and keep on firing. And then we would be in entrenched positions, and we would do defense in depth, essentially, to wear the Russians down. And then, basically to stall them. Because everybody had the idea that, the Russian tank wave warfare would just wash over everything. And that's what everyone was counting on. And then we find out later that all the shit they made was just garbage. Hell, we covered the F-15 Eagle on this channel. And that was made in response to the Soviets making the Fulcrum, I believe. Or was it the Foxbat? It was one of the two. But yeah, same thing. Funny. Saw your video about Iraq and tanks. That's right. That's right. That was a long time ago now. Russian army and Chinese are same. Horrible stuff, but many people. Yeah, they use the human wave tactic because they can afford the numbers. When you have so many millions. But nowadays, we have more of a parity with them compared to them. Even with their numbers and with their somewhat more advanced tech nowadays. I mean, Ukraine's the perfect example of how the fight will go down if it's just one Western state. And then, if it's all Western states, the whole Western hemisphere doing shit, they're cooked. Absolutely cooked. Right? Even reduced as we are right now, they're cooked. Sure, we'll take a lot of casualties, yes. But they won't be unnecessary casualties, thankfully. Democrats aren't in charge anymore, so we actually have a fighting chance in the next war. But yeah.
A Ukrainian Abrams tank receives the coordinates. It aims, fires. A perfect hit. Another shot, and the building is destroyed. During an assault on an enemy settlement, a Bradley enters first and opens continuous fire to suppress resistance.
Yeah, Bradley fighting vehicle. The mini tank. I love that thing. The Bradley's actually amazing. Seriously. Saved my bacon many times overseas.
An Abrams joins in, targeting buildings where the enemy is spotted. It methodically destroys enemy positions. Another duel, this time between the old Bradley and the modern Russian BTR-82. The BTR notices the Bradley and opens fire first. The Bradley responds immediately, flashes of hits are visible. The BTR swerves off course. The duel is over. The BTR is utterly defeated.
He shot right through that freaking BTR too. You can see that shit. Every shot you can see it going right through. Funny as F. Africa? What about it? I mean, I've been to Africa, yeah, but what about Africa?
Now, the T-90M, the flagship of Russian tanks. Let's see how it handles modern challenges. First, note the frequent ignition of ammunition upon damage.
Yeah, they never fix that flaw. Because they stick with the autoloaders.
A Ukrainian FPV drone approaches and is directed into the open hatch. The explosion ignites the ammunition, with flames bursting through the turret and driver's hatch. Another abandoned T-90M meets the same fate. Columns of fire erupt from multiple hatches and even the barrel. Crew survival is nearly impossible. In another attack, a
Bradley and my bacon? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's happened a few times. We were going house to house, during one deployment. And there was, it was basically like the Iraqi version of almost like a condo. Because there was like a center staircase, and then, kind of like these big rooms on each side going up. And it was a few stories of building. Had a little spot on the roof and everything. And, in an urban environment, especially if all the civilians didn't leave or they're not allowed to, which often they weren't, impossible to avoid civilian casualties. It's just not a thing. You try to reduce them, but you got to kill the enemy as fast as you can, and that's pretty much the only way to reduce them. But we were taking fire from the 3rd floor, and the building was 5 floors. And so it was the 3rd floor we were taking fire from. Multiple medium machine guns. And then a bunch of other small arms fire, Tavors and all that kind of shit. 74s and 47s. And we had to bring up a Bradley, right? Basically to use as cover, because where we were when everything started happening was a bad spot. We were trying to get across the avenue, and the building was right across. And we weren't able to keep them from firing. So one of the Bradleys sped up in front of us, and the crew just turned the barrel around, fixed in place on that floor, and just started shooting. Man, oh man, it was glorious. The fire stopped within just a minute. Just do, just laying waste to the dudes. And then towards the end, they were covering us with the 240 Charlie they had. And that thing rips. It's a fast shooting one. Just and we made it into the building. They killed easily 90% of the enemy force in the initial burst. The rest of them were just scattered throughout the building. We hunted them down within the hour. But yeah, man, God bless the Bradley. Did I watch the movie Warfare? Movie Warfare. No idea. If you're talking about movies that try to portray warfare, no matter what they do, it will always only be okay-ish. The reality of it all is actually a lot sharper, but also a lot more boring. Reality is very disappointing compared to Hollywood. I laughed about the Eric Prizd music video at the beginning. Eric Prizd? Or Prized? Eric Prizd? No idea. No idea. Call on Me, the song is iconic. Call on Me. Somebody's going to have to link me that so I can check it out later. Put it in the Discord. I'll have to look at it tomorrow.
Drone targets the tank's engine, then its turret. Pressure from the ignition forces the hatches open, releasing powerful flames. A $3.5 million tank is destroyed by drones, costing $1,500.
Those guys are cooked. It's easily, close to a couple thousand degrees inside of there. You're not getting out of that. I mean, hell, I almost got burned alive in a Humvee. That was bad enough. Thank God I was on the wrong side of the vehicle. But yeah, seeing this shit happen, I'm like, damn. I mean, the Russians deserve it for sure. For doing what they do. But at the same time, I'm like, shit, dude. Getting flash fried inside your big giant armor tank. Screw that. To hell with that. Well, thanks, Funny. I appreciate it.
$500. An attack drone armed with a grenade targets another modern Russian tank. A direct hit causes fire geysers as ammunition explodes. Some tanks have added EW systems, mesh armor, and extra protection. But an operator drops a grenade into a slightly open hatch. Fire starts inside. The only reason there's no explosion is because the tank was out of ammunition.
Yeah, that makes sense. I doubt they're ever going to fix that fatal flaw with the Russian tanks, and I'm kind of happy they never do. They just keep throwing them forward, wasting man and material. Makes me happy to see the riskies getting railed.
Another example, a tank with reinforced plates, dynamic protection, extra screens, and EW. A drone drops a grenade. At first, just smoke, then fire spreads. Dynamic protection detonates, and the tank is destroyed.
Too much money for Russia. At this point, they're beyond returning from this. I mean, unless India decides to go all in on allying with Russia, which it seems like that's what the Indians are going to do. Because combined with China and India, they could prop up the Russian economy easily. It would just be a direct economy. It wouldn't be a global trade type of economy like we got. Give me a sec. They just got home. I'm going to go check on them. I'll be back in a bit. Ah. All right, I'm back. Was just checking on stuff. My son is back and all that. Ah. But yeah, like I was saying about the Russian economy and all that. Unless both China and India, become allies alongside North Korea, and they do direct economy supplementation for Russia. Russia is not coming back from this one. They have to be all in on the war, and they have to continue it. And it seems like the inevitable trajectory is to pick a fight with the rest of NATO next. Funny. I'm glad he stayed at your place. You're a good dad. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. But I'm not at my place at all, actually. I lost my first house because I couldn't get any extra work and the bills kept getting more expensive. And I lost the second place I was trying to stay at for cheaper because I wasn't able to get any work still. So now I am back at my ex's house because she was in trouble too. It's quite the awkward situation, but for my son, it's worth it. And I can survive for now, so that's something. Until I can get work. That's about it. Anyway, I appreciate it. Let's finish out the rest of this one. Funny. Oh no. Yeah. Jawohl. Jawohl. Yep. Shit sucks. I am one of the most hated demographics by all businesses in the USA right now. Because they're doing DEI hiring. So it's Democrat stuff. It's all Democrat stuff. Like I've been saying for years. Funny. I loved your house. Yeah, I loved it too. It was great. It was wonderful. If I could get it back, I would. The AC was awesome. It's just it was too expensive. And the bills kept getting worse. So yeah, I was forced out of it. Unfortunately. Because nobody's hiring the white guy, nearby. So it looks like I got to go to war again in order to make any money.
In one final case, a tank is maneuvering and firing normally until it hits a mine. Where an Abrams or Leopard would lose tracks, the Russian tank turns into a fireball due to additional ammunition stored in the hull.
Funny, don't give up. Trying not to. You're using the wrong name, by the way. Just so you know. And no, it wasn't the real one from the very beginning. But it is a cool alias. I do like that name. Damn, is that a sea stallion? No. Probably not. No. Yeah, it looks like it might have been a sea stallion. Funny. So you lied to me. Bad Badger. Well, you can't operate publicly on the internet and use real things, right? It's something I learned in the military. It's called personally identifiable information, or PII. And so it's the same principle used to create call signs. So instead of saying something like a brown Regis, which would be a last name then a first name as a call sign, it would be something like, the number, unit you are, and the unit within the subunit that you are, or if you have your individual call signs, like Badger. That was one of the real call signs I used while I was in the military. Because I was Badger, and then at one point I was assigned Blast, right? And then another time blasting caps was used colloquially, right? Because I loved to just shoot as much as I could. Other guys would conserve ammo and I would just run through it. So it was a bit of a funny nickname. And then Badger 7 was one of my last duty positions in the U.S. Army. Well, technically. So yeah, using BlastCapBadger or Badger 7 or whatever, that actually is a real thing. Everything else is aliases and stuff. Right? But it's for safety's sake. Seeing as that I've actually had people try to kill me when they found out who I really was. That was not fun. What up, JD? Funny. Well, you're not the first man who lied to me. Now I know. Yeah, no. Having real stuff on the internet is very dangerous. Even for someone who thinks that they are below notice. Scammers and cartels and all of them, they make the most of their money, not from big people and going after them, but from millions of little people that they target. So yeah, just FYI for people. Funny, I told you my secrets. Well, let's just say something happened to me where I almost died, so I probably don't remember them. So you can call it even, I guess. I'm still surprised I survived that shit. When the immigrants almost killed me, and they didn't steal nothing, I had something like 400. It was either $400 or $700 in my pocket, and they didn't take it. They just attacked me. Walked out of my truck to throw some shit in the trash, turned around, and they fucking slammed me in the head with something heavy. And that was it. I was out. From what it looked like in the video, you would think they would have caved my skull in. Nope, I just got a bump back there. That was all. It sucked, but I survived. Got a bit of a spotty memory now for some things, but I'm alive. Funny, you have CCTV? The police have the CCTV because who it was that responded to the scene was a state trooper, and then it was a Border Patrol agent, and then El Paso Sheriff's Department. They were the ones that responded. El Paso PD just drove by. But yeah, they're the ones that had the CCTV. But yeah, when I got to watch the video, because they were trying to get me to see if I could identify anyone, it wasn't a very clear video. It was shit quality. But yeah, I throw something in the dumpster, turn around back to my truck, then a bunch of them come from behind the dumpster area and just... And then they were like kicking me and stomping me and shit. And it was, they they caught two of them who were later let go because the mayor wanted them out of prison for some out of jail for some reason. Democrat mayor, by the way. And yeah, they were all illegal immigrants from it was either Guatemala or Honduras. But yeah. I'm still alive. Anyway, this was a fun video. I think I put the link in the chat already. Yeah, I put the link in chat already in case, you know, something needs to be. Funny. Well, you're a mess, but God bless you. Have to leave. Have a nice day, Badger and JD. Okay. Auf Wiedersehen, funny. JD Sebring. You did. Who did what? Well, anyway. Well, this was fun. Oh, brother. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Another Discord request? Let's see. Redcon 1 Music Group presents Armed Forces 5 Branches 1 Epic. Okay. I'll have to check it out tomorrow. YouTube didn't allow me to upload any of these. YouTube just straight blocked these ones. So I got this one tomorrow and then this one tomorrow. Okay. Man, who would have guessed Hyundai would have had so many illegals working for them? You know what's funny? I applied to Hyundai as everything from, you know, technician, mechanic to janitor. Got refused every time. Never thought me submitting a report for suspicion of hiring illegals would ever be taken seriously. I'm probably joking. And now they got raided by ICE. Love it. Friggin' love it. Any shamhoozle. Oh, damn. Gameology, huh? Friggin' A, bub. Any schmoozle. How you doing? It's kind of funny how closely our feeds line up on YouTube. Well, great minds think alike. Oh, there's more information on 3i Atlas. Have you heard about this thing? Oh, God, he's got that music on. Well, it's from Bandcamp. It says Creative Commons licenses. Hopefully that's true. JD, a lot of the stuff on your YouTube home screen are the same ones I have. Well, ain't that funny? Ain't that a funny coinkydink? Ain't that hilarious, JD? It's a small world after all. But yeah, have you heard about this thing? 3i Atlas, the third interstellar object detected by the Atlas arrays, or it's either the Atlas array or network. It's one of the two. It's basically where they're looking for objects out in space and shit. Nice and simple. Well, let me tell you something, bub. We are starting to believe very fast here that we are, on an intergalactic highway of some kind. Because we have had 3 interstellar objects make their way through our solar system, defy everything we know about, naturally occurring objects out in space. All of them have done very peculiar things that science cannot explain still. They defy the laws of gravity and physics. And this is the third one approaching us. And it's something like something like 1/3 the size of the sun or something. And it is coming very close to us. And it's literally threading a needle through our solar system at a particular point in time where everything's in a very specific type of solar orbit around the sun. It's already entered our heliosphere. And it is seeming like it's broadcasting signals that are of a greater power than all of planet Earth generates all at one time. It's done this many repeated times, sent this signal directly to us. Uh-oh. Specifically to James Webb, which is That's mind-blowing by itself. That's really precise for the distance this thing is at. And it has a coma, which is like which is like all asteroids and comets have some kind of coma, and it can become a tail. I'm sure you're familiar with Halley's Comet. It's something like that. Well, this one has a coma that is around half the size of the freaking sun, or close to it in some way. And it's working against gravity. It's working against the laws of physics as we understand it when it comes to these things. Almost like this object is having some kind of field of things purposefully projected around it. It gives off readings of materials that are not naturally occurring metals. So, signs of possible manufacture, similar to the type we do, except much more advanced for something this size, especially out in interstellar space. It seems to have its own propulsion instead of a tail like most bodies would. And it gives off all the readings and signs of something operating under its own power and not being subject to the whims of the celestial bodies. It seems to defy the pull of. Now, let me know what you think about all that. I put it as simply as I possibly could. If I've struck you speechless, I mean, I would understand. What are your thoughts on it? Well, what's it make you think from what you understand of what I said? I know it's a lot to take in. Um, I know it's a great deal, but honestly, to me, this is nothing of a surprise. I mean, compared to my experiences in Afghanistan and other places around the world with things that to this day I'd never got an explanation for, I even released a video where I found another guy that experienced the same shit at the same time in the same place as I did, which that was a crazy coincidence by itself. It's no surprise to me. But what do you think about all of that? Now, mind you, we have been broadcasting the most powerful messages we can out to space since the 70s. And this thing seems to come possibly from the direction we have broadcast some of the most powerful signals. And now it's in our solar system, and it is broadcasting a super powerful repeating signal right at us. If this turns out to be just another giant rock with a bunch of special properties to it, that'll be a giant fucking coinkadink. JD, that's pretty crazy once you start thinking with how big space really is. I'm sure we're not the only living entities. Well, we already found like microbial life, extremophiles, and all that kind of stuff on other planets. It's not hard to imagine there's got to be stuff out there older than us. There's no way we're alone. However, maybe it's not the best idea to have a big sign, right, pointing to your house and saying you are not sufficiently armed to defend yourself. Because all the hippies like to think that creatures more advanced than us would be benevolent entities, because they really don't understand how reality works. All you gotta do is look at nature, and nature is metal. So yeah, this thing threading the needle purposefully, taking a little cruise around our solar system, and then passing by away from us, disguising itself as just another comet or asteroid, whatever. So on October 29th, it's supposed to pass Mars. And we're going to get one of the best looks at it we possibly can. If it continues on its current course, threading the needle through our solar system, and it continues on that path, that's big by itself. But if it decides it wants to head straight to us after passing Mars, I think we're in some big trouble, bub. I think we're in some deep shit. Just saying. But anyway, yeah, it's a big deal. It's a real big deal. I mean, from some of the descriptions I've been studying of it and some of the data and, you know, all the calculations and everything, like, the coma of this thing reads more like a force field or some kind of shielding or some kind of gravitic manipulation of some kind than it does debris that surrounds a freaking, you know, object going through interstellar space subject to the forces of gravity of celestial bodies, especially the sun. With how close this thing got to the sun and with how big it is, if this thing hit the sun, it's more than big enough to cause a ruckus. But it decided to not only defy the sun, the biggest thing in our freaking solar system with the greatest amount of gravity, it decided to go around our sun, just barely, just a few AU away, as if purposefully being like, oh, hey, guess that's nice. And it adjusted the coma around it to face the sun. So yeah, let's see what John Michael Gaudier has to say about it. I like John Michael Gaudier. Why am I unsubscribed from him? That makes no sense. I like John Michael Gaudier. Anyway, let's listen to what John has to say about it. But yeah, it's called 3I Atlas Interstellar Object. People initially were calling it 31 Atlas colloquially because they were using the Roman numeral, which kind of looks like a 1 to some people, I guess. Or they were using the capitalized I in a different font, so people were calling it 31 Atlas for a minute. But there's a ton of videos on this thing. And a ton of data and research you could look at publicly on like NASA's site and all that. So anyway, let's give a listen, shall we?
The story of the third confirmed interstellar object, 3I Atlas, has continued to develop throughout August, and much new data has come available. And while the object continues to generate interest and controversy, and does indeed show some interesting features that are a bit out of the ordinary, the object continues to develop characteristics that are consistent with a comet of interstellar origin. But in one way, the object is of great interest, and it's an aspect not really being talked about much amid the controversy, and that is the motion of the object suggests an age of 7 billion years, meaning that it came from a star system considerably older than the solar system. We've never seen anything quite like that, though there are interstellar grains that have been found in meteorites and from the Stardust spacecraft that may also predate the solar system. But this would be an entire comet, and by watching the materials this object ejects as it makes its way through the solar system gives us a profile of what the star system of origin was like.
Too easy, JD. You know, so I know John's going to stick with just purely what's easy to confirm, but he's not going to cover anything else outside of that. So this one might be a little boring for some people. It's still exciting for me. I love this shit.
And how the make
Now notice it said 7 billion-ish years, possibly. And its motion and origin. Older than a lot of things. From a place way beyond ours. I mean, freaking hell. Interstellar doesn't really even cover it. We're talking a whole other entire part of the freaking, not even the galaxy, right? A whole other part of possibly the universe at this point. It's freaking mind-boggling. But it decides to come this way. Very interesting.
makeup of the galaxy may have changed over the material of the solar system's age. As I mentioned, since my last update at the end of July, there have been some new developments. The first is a study published by Santa Ross and colleagues that reports that the coma of the comet has reddened across July. The surface of the object was already known from previous data to be reddened, and a reddened surface of an object is an expected result of long-term exposure to cosmic rays, and in this case, very long-term exposure to the interstellar medium. That Atlas continues to redden further indicates that its surface or its coma are evolving as it's getting increasingly heated by the sun, which is normal for cometary activity. The warmer it gets, the warmer the volatile ices inside it get, and then they flash into gas and blow dust off the surface, and that forms the tail. Atlas is interesting here because its tail is actually currently forming a strong spike towards the sun. This may seem strange at first. Tails should be blown away from the sun, not towards it. But it actually is known cometary activity, and it's called an anti-tail. And it happens when the ice melting is preferentially heated by the sun in the direction of the sun.
All right. That's a bit different because from everything I looked at, that being a thing at all was surprising to everybody. So I'm guessing he's going off of the latest updates from NASA and the different observer orgs and all that. I haven't seen that latest stuff yet, so I'm probably a day out of date on my information so far. Still, an anti-tail? That's still very strange.
So it's like having a geyser of gas shooting out towards the heat source, warming it, which obviously is the sun. This will probably further evolve as the object gets warmer and warmer as it enters the solar system further, as it gets nearer to the heat source, at which time it will form a more conventional tail. How extensive that tail might be remains open. Comets can flare up and do all sorts of interesting things as they heat, because the volatiles in them will get exposed differently as it passes through. Maybe the sun will expose a large reservoir of ice and it will brighten until it exhausts. Or maybe not. You never know.
Holy Jesus, look at that size difference. Maybe it's just getting closer. Maybe that's just the thing. But if it is extended its coma that much that rapidly, it should be right on top of the sun at that point.
Reservoir of ice and it will brighten until it exhausts. Or maybe not. You never know what you'll get from comets. Another interesting observation was done on August 21st by NASA's Sphere X mission. And it found a water ice emission and a very strong carbon dioxide emission. As an interesting point here is that it did not see a water vapor emission, but that may yet turn up with more heating because when the observation was made, it was right on the line for that. On the 22nd, the Lowell Observatory detected cyanide emissions from the object. And while a tentative observation, hydrogen cyanide emissions are normal for comets. Interestingly, however, on the 21st of August, the Very Large Telescope confirmed the cyanide emissions, but also created somewhat of a new mystery in that it detected the metal nickel in the coma of 3I Atlas. But it did not detect the usual companion to nickel in comets, which is the usually much more abundant iron. Iron and nickel form together in supernovae and go hand in hand normally. You see this with the nickel and iron ratios in iron meteorites. Take the Canyon Diablo meteorite, which was responsible for blowing a hole in Arizona about 50,000 years ago, forming Barringer or Meteor Crater. Chunks of that small iron asteroid were strewn all over the surrounding desert, along with quite literally a rain of molten metal droplets that can be picked up by dragging a magnet across the desert in that area. The ratio of nickel to iron in that meteorite is typical, about 7% nickel, and most of the rest being iron. Yet 3I Atlas isn't showing the iron, only the nickel.
Wait, am I wrong when it comes to my processes? But isn't cyanide used to separate some stuff? Am I wrong about this? Cyanide used for separation of... Oh, I'm kind of tired. That's right. MacArthur Forest process. So yeah, cyanide can be used as It can be used for separation of things. That's right. Like nickel, cadmium. Okay, yeah. That's right. Not just gold, bub. A lot of things. Depending on the amount of it used, essentially. So it can also be used on... Okay, well, shit, that's even more worrisome. Because this object is also... it's also showing particles of cyanide, nickel, but no iron. Iron is always present in these objects when there's nickel involved, because they form together, right? But cyanide is used as a separator. So this thing has nickel alone, but no particles of iron coming from it? How? That's crazy.
When the iron should be much higher. It also has a surprisingly high level of carbon dioxide outgassing versus water vapor outgassing, which is also atypical. In fact, 3i Atlas in this regard ranks among the highest carbon dioxide ratios ever seen in comets. Now, to address the elephant in the room, it has been suggested that maybe the object might be a candidate for an artificial object of alien origin if certain key features had remained unresolved, such as the object's size, which could have been implausibly large and might have put alien activity on the table. But Hubble observations constrained that down a bit to a size normal for a comet. There was also the question of the angle the object entered the solar system at, which is within a few degrees of the plane of the solar system, and that it makes close passes of 3 solar system planets and will be out of view from Earth when it's at perihelion, meaning we can't see what it does from our vantage point when it's at its closest to the sun. Problem is, we can, because we have numerous spacecraft that can take a look at it, and I think it's a safe bet that if aliens wanted to hide from us, they were assuming that we had telescopes that could see their object. It's not a far stretch from that assumption for them to have assumed that we had littered our star system with active probes that could also see the object.
Yeah, I mean, anyone with any type of, like, even the lowest IQ could assume that shit. Because, I mean, hell, even at the level of just a frontline soldier, yours truly, how would I disguise myself to go through an unfamiliar place? And I don't want the locals to know I'm there. I become one of the locals. Or I become something that passes through all the time and they pay no mind to it. Like, I don't know, a beaten old rickety down, like, 6-speed freaking, 6-speed van. Or what's that other one? The Zeal? The Zeal model cars. Right? And then me, myself, well, tan the fuck up, put on a man dress, put on either a keffiyeh or shemagh, right? And then there we go. Jatreze. Wahet nidrlita. Rabasa. Inshallah. Right? You become one of the things most familiar to those that are there. It's, camouflage 101, basically. You want to stalk someone through the jungle? You become a plant, a bush. In some cases, a bunch of vines and part of a trunk. You want to stalk something at night? In its natural habitat, you become the shadows that are in the darkness. So yeah, this all reeks of hey, let's take a look-see, see what's there. And one of the only reasons why anyone ever does recon, you know what it's for? You know what the purpose of recon is? Especially if you're camouflaged or disguised, right? Level 4 disguise, camouflage, and all that. You know what that's for, right? What comes after recon? Shit, dude. What do you think, JD? What comes after that? What's the next step? I mean, I don't mean to put any alarm bells on, but in my experience, the next step after a recon or a stalk, right, or surveillance of any type of point of interest, person of interest, etc., the next step always is some kind of assault. Every single time I've done that shit, the next step was, okay, go grab them. Go take them down. Go grease them. I am heading to that exact place or to that exact person, and I'm either going to end up filling them full of metals or putting them into metals and then taking them away with me. Every time. Well, okay, not exactly every single time, because there's a few squirrely birds out there who we still haven't got yet, but we'll get them in time. That's usually always the next step, is some kind of attack. But the more of this I hear, the worse it gets. Anyway, let me know what you think, JD.
But there's actually something more glaring here. If your goal is to see a star system as fully as you can to survey what's there, now is not that time. The most ideal recent time would have been the 1970s, because of the Grand Tour alignment that we ourselves took advantage of to see 4 of the outer planets in one shot with the Voyager probes. If an alien probe had come in from the right angle and passed through the inner solar system first to take advantage of the alignment, it could have taken further advantage of other alignments for the inner planets and knocked out the majority of the major planets of the solar system, including Earth, in one go, all at a time when we did not have the technology to easily detect such an object.
Well, the thing that he's missing here the thing he's forgetting, I'm pretty sure John's old enough to remember this. When was our first messages out into space, technically? And when was our first objects out into space? Because it seems more like something is responding to one more than the other. And it's just crazy. It's so insane how this is all going down. I do truly hope it's not aliens or extraterrestrial entities. I hope not.
Who knows what passed through unnoticed in the 1970s and 80s? More on the alien count has been made over the object's emissions, but this is not on particularly strong ground. An alien spacecraft probably isn't going to emit much more than heat and perhaps thrusters, which you would see some very odd chemicals if indeed it were doing that. There isn't any known reason to emit nickel and carbon dioxide like a comet. Yes, the ratios are weird, but it's not a solar system comet. It's an interstellar object with an entirely different history than anything we have.
Which still doesn't account for how the iron was separated from the nickel. Because with other interstellar objects, they were more similar to what we experienced before than this thing. So that still doesn't explain it. The separation of metals, right, of all of that, right, it screams of some kind of processing, some kind of manufacturing or metallurgy. So yeah, that's worrisome by itself, really.
You have to give the object some slack for that aspect. So here the odd emission ratios probably are not speaking of alien technology, but rather unusual chemistry going on with this comet. That screams why this object is so important to study. It's already showing signs of being different in composition than a normal solar system comet is, and indeed for that matter, the interstellar comet Borisov. Given that this object is so old and showing unusual chemical characteristics, it's easily as interesting for its age as it is for being a sample from another much older star system with a different formation profile than the Sun had.
But that still doesn't explain the lack of uniformity. Because even if, according to, what's been publicly made available, when it comes to, even when it comes to the unique atypical types of formations of star systems, there's many things that are uniform across the board. And that is compositions. So, this still doesn't explain that.
You can also ask questions about what happens to an object that spends billions of years in the interstellar medium. Potentially in this case, it may have spent longer than the entire lifetime of our star system flying the intergalactic medium, especially the thick galactic disk where it originated from.
But again, it comes from there. It has passed many star systems to get here. So again, if that's the case and it's being affected by external interstellar forces and the gaps between, well then why in the hell is it even still able to react to heat? Why has it not fizzled entirely now? And it's just an asteroid, not a meteor. Or a comet, right? Why isn't it all just nothing but, again, that just doesn't explain it.
Encountering who knows what in that time. Star-forming regions, nebulae, high-density star regions, and so on. Can that change the chemistry and profile of an object? What happens if such a thing gets a little too close to a neutron star, or gets bombarded from a distant enough encounter with the jet of a pulsar to alter it rather than destroy it. Who knows, but it's worth wondering about the strange environments in the galaxy that this object might have inadvertently wandered through during its long journey. Or maybe it was a whole profile of different environments over a period of 7 billion years. That would get especially interesting if the chemistry remains odd. Yet as we see more interstellar comets and their profiles with the Vera Rubin Observatory, brace yourself, you'll be seeing a lot of interstellar objects in the coming years with that telescope, and none quite match 3i Atlas. Or Oumuamua for that matter. It's at that point you have to start wondering about situations these objects might find themselves wandering into in the interstellar medium, and what that might do to them to alter their chemistry. Another option is very long-term exposure to cosmic rays. That might give the comet a kind of shell on its outer surface that resulted in abundant CO2 ices. That shell is now melting, resulting in the high CO2 emissions.
But it passed different star systems to get here. So passing that many potential star systems by itself would remove the shell. It would have melted it away, burned it away, heated it out. So again, still doesn't explain or come close to it, purely conjecture when it comes to this thing having a shell. Never mind its coma. Its coma is freaking massive.
The nickel emissions without iron may be due to the grains coming off the comet being made of nickel tetracarbonyl, which is not stable and breaks apart into nickel and carbon monoxide in UV sunlight. That might explain the high activity, but weird attributes of that activity of the object so far from the sun. Oddly, if this is something left over from the formation of the object, it reveals where in its protoplanetary disk it formed, which would be very distant from its parent star. And then there is the question of what chemistry was doing earlier in the universe when abundances of elements were a bit different from when the solar system formed. The scientific questions here are endless, so the natural question is, what can we do to make as many observations of the object as we can, get a solid profile of its chemistry and behavior as it passes its whole trip through the solar system? And most importantly, what can we do with all these probes out in the solar system to make observations from different vantage points of the object, and when we can't see it from Earth at all? The answer is exciting. In addition to multiple observations done worldwide already that will continue, along with more Hubble and James Webb observations in November and December, the spacecraft list that can do meaningful observations of 3i Atlas is growing, as the scientists think about what they can do. While the door may still be open to use an aging Mars probe near the end of its mission to go out and intercept it, one door has closed. The Juno mission at Jupiter is finishing up and getting ready to take the plunge into the atmosphere to destroy it so it doesn't crash into any moons and potentially contaminate them. It was pointed out by Loeb and colleagues that if Juno had enough remaining fuel, which they didn't know when they authored the paper, it could have done it. But it's since been clarified by the Juno team that it doesn't have the fuel left to make the trip. The probes at Mars remain open, but specifically the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, MRO, is capable of taking measurements from Mars. But there are two missions heading into space that might yield useful observations. One of them is a Psyche mission on its way to the asteroid 16 Psyche, and is designed to study the metal-rich composition of that asteroid. And there is the JUICE spacecraft on its way to the Jupiter system that can do observations. JUICE is interesting here because it underwent a gravity-assisted Venus on the 31st and is in a solid position to see Atlas at its perihelion.
Uh-oh, lost connection for a second. Okay, I'm back apparently. But yeah, this is nuts. MRO is probably going to be the best bet. Probably. Because if it gets close enough to MRO, if it continues on its path, it'll be very close to Mars. It'll do a flyby of Mars according to everything we know at the moment. So the MRO is probably going to be the best bet. Because the other ones are going to be probably too distant.
Juice is the one to watch, especially here. Also at Mars are TN-11 and Hope, both of which have the vantage point and suitable equipment to take data on the object. For comparison, the closest approach to these spacecraft is about 28 million miles for Psyche, Juice around 43 million, and Mars is 18 million. For Earth, the closest it gets
Yeah, Mars is the best bet.
is 168 million miles on December 19th. Closer views are better, of course. There are also other options as pointed out by Marshall Eubanks, ESA's SOHO Solar Probe and NASA's Punch Probe, and indeed the Parker Solar Probe, might be able to do observations that give a day-to-day look at Atlas, albeit at low resolution. While in less opportune positions, Hera, Europa Clipper, and the Lucy spacecraft can't do much, but there is an odd possibility that after the comet passes through, they might end up going through its tail and may be able to take measurements of that. But we don't know how this comet will develop, which greatly defines those possibilities. So there you have it. 3i Atlas continues to cook through the solar system and remains of high interest. But it's me, and I can't not point out something odd. So I leave you with this. Remember Jabilsky's star, with the strange signature of transuranic elements in its makeup that remains a very large unsolved mystery? And in fact, so strange, it's an alien technosignature candidate. Well, one of the hallmarks of that star is that at first, Antoni Jabilsky could not detect any iron in the makeup of that star, which immediately made it anomalous, or an impossibly early star. Iron has since been detected in the star, but at very low levels for any star that exists today. The star is a member of a class of stars called peculiar stars because their chemical makeups do not match most other stars. Is it possible, just perhaps, 3i Atlas was born around just such a star? Food for thought. Thanks for listening. I'm futurist and science fiction author John Michael Gautier, currently feeling kinship with 3i Atlas. After having endured many long
I like John Michael Gautier. Here you go. Here's a link. John Michael Gautier. He's boring to most people, but I like him.
transcontinental plane flights. None of them lasted 7 billion years, but imagine the jet lag and day sleepiness Atlas must be going through. Get that thing a cup of coffee. What, don't we have any hospitality in this star system? And the journey only ever stops if it gets captured by a star or plunges into one. Being an interstellar object is not for the faint of heart. And be sure to check out my books at your favorite online book retailer and subscribe to my channels for regular in-depth explorations into the interesting, weird, and unknown aspects of this amazing universe in which we live.
Let's see what the comments have to say. Someone said, I'm just waiting for this thing to make a course correction. Oh boy, has it already done so, technically. Great to have someone I trust talk about this. Same here. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So basically... Three interstellar comets in 8 years. Yeah, that's a bit different. Well, anyway, that being said, I enjoyed it. What did y'all think? Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know. All right, cool. That being said, thank you. Thank you very much. That being said, I'm about to get off, go to bed. Be good, be safe, make your life for yourselves. See you in the next one. I am Badger 7 Actual, the former Ilmus veteran, BlastCapBadger, out.